live. Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, Week 17 edition. The last show of 2022. Wouldn't want to do it with any other people than my boys here. First off, Boston comrade Bobby Gomes at Bobby Gomes DFS, the Fantasy Bros, and my boy. We've been doing this for a long time. Feels like me and JSU Rab. Run Pure Sports collaboration with RotoGrinders. Happy that they allowed us to do the show. This is our last show of the New Year's. Let's win some money to start off the year right, fellas. How we doing?
Doing good. Excited to be on. Last week, not the greatest week for Bob, I'd say. Played a lot of CMC. Did not go well. But we move on to Week 17.
JSU, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to be on doing this final show of 2022 with you boys. My last week, honestly, it's all a blur. I just remember that I played DeAndre Swift, so I want to forget last week and move on to the next week because that guy's just killed me. So, yeah, it probably wasn't the best week for me either. But, hey, we got this slate. I like this slate. There's some interesting, games, narratives you can pull from some of these games. Our team's going to play, their starters full games. You got the Trevor Lawrence questionable and the Jacksonville situation altogether. We just saw what the Titans did, kind of, sitting a lot of their main defensive players and some of their main offensive players getting ready for next week against Jacksonville. What does Jacksonville do this week? I kind of feel like they play. They technically can get in two separate ways. So it's not just obviously if they win next week, they're in, but there's another way they could somehow sneak in. Now, a lot would need to happen for that to hit, but there is another way they could get in. So yeah, I kind of lean that they play their guys, but am I super confident that they play the whole game? No, I'm not super confident. So it's an interesting slate. Those guys will probably get lower ownership than they would on a slate where you were guaranteed that they were definitely going to play these guys full run.
So last week's a blur for me too. So the funny thing is, I know you want to know how I know I got pummeled, and I did get pummeled. Is that I'm scrolling through trying to find my main lineup and I see afternoon slate. Like that means I was just tilted throwing in afternoon lineups because I never play afternoon slates. And then I see here, in like the 555, I just pulled a one. I'm 99th out of 100. I got second to last. So it was a rough day for your boy, Geno Smith. I went all in on the Chiefs game, but I took the wrong side with Seattle. And that game just sucked. I had McKinnon. It didn't even. It wasn't even good. It felt good because he got a touchdown, and it was like that was like the only touchdown I think I got all week. But so I got pummeled. But what do you do when you're pummeled, right? Like normal people, they're like that's when they start checking their season long, right? Like when the slate's completely over. Oh, let me see how I do. See what does Kirky do? Let me see how I'm doing on Rainmakers. And all of a sudden, I've got a team that's like up in the top, and it has like a sweat for 100K, and I needed Devontae Smith to get going, and he got 2 touchdowns, and then I got second place for 20K in the elite contest I had, and so it saved Christmas. It was a Christmas miracle, but I had a chance for the 100K, and first I just needed a Devontae Smith TD at the end or 6 fantasy points, and they threw to him. Minshew threw to him, but it wasn't really catchable in the end zone. And that was my hopes and dreams were riding on that play. But it was nice to like have a sweat out of nowhere that saved Christmas. So we're back. We're back. So it's all a wash. The main slate. Who cares? But I got. So
you needed a third TD. You needed a third Christmas TD from.
But I had I was already in second, but I had it. And then it was like, can I get it? And then they got the ball back. They had a chance to do it. And, I thought it was, they were going to, Devontae was killing them. So I was like, there's a real chance there. And he threw to him in the end zone. He was open back the end zone, but Minshew sailed it too high. Wasn't catchable. But if he hits him there, Kirky's happy, So way to celebrate the year. But you gotta be happy with that. You know, it was like it came out of nowhere. So it saved Christmas. It was a Christmas miracle because I was already saying, like, I was in a worse mood. I was like, Christmas is canceled. I was telling like Lauren, like, you know.
The kid's like,
with
why
a baby too, with like a young
yeah, I'm like,
kid.
he's not gonna know anything. He doesn't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
But
he
anyway.
won't remember all those presents you got him anyway. So it doesn't.
Yeah,
that's
no,
the funny
kid
thing about like a newborn. Like
he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
We got my kid, like, he got a ton of gifts because we have a lot of family and stuff. And his favorite thing is like this thing he keeps ringing, which he was ringing at the beginning of the show, but I had to text my girlfriend to get it away from him. It's just like 3 bells, like off of it's like a Christmas, like, you know what I mean? Like some random toy.
Some of these kids' toys are amazing. How simple they are and how much kids just enjoy. Just the.
I wish I could get as much.
It's like, okay, you want it? It's just like a dog. You know what the best toy for a dog is? Here's a pro tip for anyone who doesn't have a dog or they're getting a dog. Everyone spends money on these squeakers. You know what you do? You take a plastic water bottle and you give it to them with no water in it, and they just love chewing it. And that's like he'll chase it around the room for hours and hours. It's like the best toy you can do. But yeah, it's the same concept. Yeah. So here we are. Well, we've got another show now. This is the second to last week of the season, so we're going to have a lot of motivation stuff that's going to play into it. Luckily, it doesn't seem to like there's no like last week was all about the weather. And again, what did I say? I've been playing DFS for probably like 10 years, like hard or close to that anyway. And I still don't know how to deal with weather. Right. And so I was like, screw the weather. I'm playing the Chiefs. Geno Smith, the Seattle game, and it was freezing cold, and that game sucked, absolutely sucked. And I should have just, everybody can score. Like Minnesota is just a cheat code, that defense, and they have them. I should have just focused there, but I didn't. I tried to get outside of that. But at least we don't have any major weather this week. But we do have some motivation stuff. Like really, it's about figuring out who's going to be playing. And it's hard. We don't know. These coaches lie. These coaches lie, cheat, and steal, right? Like some say they're going to play their guys. Some say they're going to sit their guys, and then they just do complete opposite. So we have to navigate all of this week.
The funniest thing about all that is they think they have like a massive edge. Like, oh yeah, like I'm just not going to say anything about this, and then it's like all these coaches and all these sports. They think they have a massive edge with some of that stuff. Like you don't. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like. I just think it's kind of funny. NBA is the same thing.
They walk around talking like they're in the mob, so I don't know, like, hey, Bobby, how you doing? Hey, like when they're calling plays, like hiding their lips and everything. Like,
I don't understand. I was thinking about that last week. I forget. It was Morris, the San Fran D coordinator, who was doing it. I'm like, do they really need to do this? Like, what's they've been doing? Obviously, they've been doing it for years. But like,
how about the showdown slate we had with the Colts, where we get the news after the slate locks that Deion Jackson and Vrabel got into like a screaming match, and so no one says this.
Saturday,
right?
Jeff Saturday,
or whatever it was, Saturday, not Vrabel. What am I saying? Saturday, and him getting into this screaming match, and it's like, okay, so everyone knew it happened on Saturday. No one says anything. Then the game locks, and then we get this report after. I'm like. How do we not know this happens? Like, come on, this is ridiculous here. We got to wait until the slate locks, so then Deion gets no run. Of course, I played Deion, so I'm still mad about that. But
I played him too.
It was annoying.
And he should have been the guy. First of all, he's better. Second of all, it should have been a passing game script for him. They just literally didn't let him play. I mean, it really testing my degeneracy, like the fact that I'm still entering these showdown contests when it's like what this other game the other night, Dallas at who the heck did they play?
The Titans.
Yeah, the Titans. Man, that was just like the fact that I had to sit through and watch that is the worst part of it. And I just couldn't not play, But anyway, so we got to play this slate. This is we're here. Thank you. I wanted to say thank you guys. First of all, so sometimes I forget and wouldn't say it at the end of the show, but like we all have tough schedules this season. So it was a lot, like really hard to like plan all of our shows all the time. So thank you guys for working with me and like always getting the show done. So that means a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to the people listening. That it's not. We all have other content responsibilities. We got parenting. We got all these things. JSU just got married, so it's sometimes it's hard to get everyone together to do this. But we're here on New Year's Eve morning, grinding out this slate for the people. So let's get at it. We've got 13 games. Really, it's kind of a tale of 3 games, I think, at least in like the high end, right? Like you've got this Chicago-Detroit game, which looks really juicy first of all, it's in the Detroit Dome. We know Goff plays a lot better at home in the Dome. He's actually averaging 25 fantasy points versus or 24 fantasy points versus 15 fantasy points on the road per game. So he definitely plays much better. The Chicago defense is Swiss cheese, especially in the passing attack. They have nothing to play for except for pride, right? Is that correct with Chicago? And so massive total, 52.5, much higher than any other game, except there's kind of one right below it, and that's the cheat code. Minnesota heads to Green Bay. Minnesota defense, I mean, they couldn't stop Head Chopper. You give Head Chopper the ball, let him run. You're the running back today, Chop. Get out there, make it happen. They can't stop him, can they? Give him a screen pass. He's going to get 15 yards of play, don't you think?
I mean, I don't know about 15 yards of play. Let's go. Let's go.
A little bubble screen to Chop. Little bubble screen to Chop.
I mean, if he averaged 5 yards a carry, that's pretty good. Come on, 15 yards.
I'm thinking a bubble screen. It's just in the passing game. I'd roster him. Min salary, I'd roster him. But
you're a true friend, Kirkwood. You are a true friend. You would roster.
I believe in my people. I'd roster you too, JSU. And I feel
would not roster even me.
I feel like Bobby's a defensive guy. Like he's like a linebacker. I feel like, and he's just creating havoc.
I give Bobby like a halfback carry, like right up the gut to get the touchdown. I give him like that.
I could do that.
I give him the AJ Dillon treatment. He's a big dude.
I picture him I picture him just sacking Kirk Cousins.
Or D.
I can see him playing D. Yeah,
I like D. We could do that.
All right. So then the game right below that one. I mean, that's Green Bay. Green Bay is like the Bucks. Like they're rolling into the playoffs with like the worst team we've ever seen out of them this season, right? Like Aaron Rodgers' play has been horrific. And so has Tom Brady's play has been horrific. And these teams are like going to be in the playoffs most likely. So Green Bay's they've won what have they won? Like 5 or 6 in a row. But like, man, they have not played well, but they get the cheat code against Minnesota. They are 3-point favorites, 48 total. Watson's not going to be available. Most likely not going to be. Is he out officially?
No, he's not out officially. He returned to practice on Friday.
Limited.
He's listed as questionable. We'll see if he plays. I don't know. Man, I love him. I think he's really good. He feels like he always gets hurt, just like in games too. Like I hate it because I want to play him if he plays, but I'm probably going to be held back because I feel like he always just gets nicked up during the games.
He had those back-to-back concussion weeks too, right? Like
he had that, and then he's had some injuries and stuff.
He got on a limited session, game time call. It's a big game for Green Bay. It's a huge game for them, and even if he plays, he may be limited. I think Dobbs has got to be the play in that game. I think he's coming along. Like I think I don't know. We'll get into that.
Talk about a guy who's electric is Dobbs. He's going to be a player too.
Like he was Watson, and then he got hurt. Yeah. And then Watson came, became the guy.
Do you guys remember this game though in week 1? This exact game, Green Bay and so Watson, it was like the first play of the game.
He dropped it.
They ran like I think it was a double move. I can't remember though. And he was butt naked, wide open, just no one near him. I mean, like 10 yards he probably had between him and the defender.
JSU's picturing him butt naked right now.
Just dropped it. Like no one near him, not even close, not a safety, nobody, and just friggin' drops it right in his hands, breadbasket, and just let it go. Watson would be like the perfect guy to just burn this secondary. There's a lot of the Minnesota guys are slow. They wouldn't be able to handle his speed. He'd be such a good play. He probably will be a really good tournament play if he's in. But
you know what's going to happen? He's going to pepper Randall Cobb. Like I just don't get it.
No,
Randall Cobb gets open.
That's his boy. You know, Aaron Rodgers. He rewards his friends.
Just thinking, imagine being their second round or first round pick, whatever Christian Watson is, and then your first play with Aaron Rodgers is dropping a 70-yard touchdown. It's gonna be
seriously
wide open too.
First play. He's gonna redeem himself this week. I think he definitely remembers that play.
Well, that's why Dobbs kind of stunk on the showdown or the last game, because he dropped like his first pass like wide open, and I was like, oh no, he's not going to see another one, and he like barely saw any action all game. All right, then the next game is Mahomes, right? And it's like I always talk myself on Mahomes, but the answer is always Mahomes. But the thing is, he's playing Denver. They finally fired that hack job Hackett, who was just didn't take a rocket scientist to notice that he was just a awful coach. Some of the worst time management I've ever seen in my life. I don't get how all these guys have such bad time management. But anyway, so you get a new coach narrative potentially, these guys, and they're kind of rallying around Russ. Like there's like Judy came out and was like, backed up his boy Russ. He says when like the narrative's always been like everyone hates Russ, and you would think everyone hates Russ because man, I hate Russ. like unlimited. Like I mean, he's just such a clown. But so I mean that game could get interesting, but 44.5 point total, and then there's just a bunch of games, right? Like we got to pick out plays here. We do have Tom Brady on the slate. We've got at least one more chance for Bobby to get even if he chooses to do so on it.
Come on, Bob, get in there. One more week, baby. We got 2 weeks left. This is the last week you can do it in 2022. Get in on some Tommy B.
Oh, I forgot about that. Now this is the last time in 2022 that you'll have a chance to get even with Tom Brady. I mean, that's big.
Exactly. No, it's pretty big. We might have to consider Brady. I could consider some Brady. No, I would much prefer Aaron Rodgers at 6K.
God,
Brady's
they
probably
both
6-1.
bad.
I just take the matchup with Minnesota, right?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely a better matchup. I'm just saying, man, look at these guys. I mean, Aaron Rodgers hasn't broke 20 all year, I think.
Then another interesting game right below that, total-wise 43, is Jacksonville favored by 3 on the road in Houston. Great matchup. Houston's been playing competitive. Like when you count them out, they've been in games for sure. These Jacksonville games have been great DFS-wise lately, and we have Coach Speak saying he's going to play his players. Now, there's some people are saying it's stupid for him to play his player, but they technically. We talked about this pre-show thing. JSU has a nice chart on this. Shout out to Helmet. Is that the guy's name? Helmet.
Helmet who found it. Yeah, Helmet.
Yeah. There you go. But anyways, they have about a 6% chance if they lose this game if they win this game of it making a difference for them. So really, it comes down to the final week 18, them versus the Titans win and they're in. And if they don't win this week, it really doesn't matter, except there's like a million things that could happen. And if they won this game, it comes out to be a 6% chance for them. And so they're going to play their guys, they're saying, but I don't know. Will you have a take on this, JSU?
So my lean, when we talked about it yesterday on the Print Factory with all those guys, Big T and ODB and Dunkel, my lean was that they were going to play and they were just going to play their guys. And listen, if they got up big against Houston, could they sit them in the fourth quarter? Yeah, of course, like that. But my lean was they play their guys and they play. Now, there was mixed opinions on that, I think, on the show. I think a lot of people, you just have to decide. Do you think that there's a chance that they don't play their guys full snaps? If that's the case, then you probably don't want anything to do with this game. Maybe you want the Houston defense. Houston's been really scrappy the last few weeks. I'll give them credit. They've played some solid teams, and they've played them tough too. Not just
the Chiefs.
We saw the Chiefs game, the Dallas game. They gave Dallas the Dallas game here. They've really done a decent job down the stretch of at least trying to be competitive. And that's with rotating quarterbacks and doing just different things, being out your number one running back in multiple wide receivers for games and stuff, like playing your fourth and fifth string wide receivers for a lot of snaps. So they're doing this with a lot of different things. And in a defense that everyone thought was by far the worst defense in the league coming into the year. And they play decent. So I guess it's just all on how you see this game going. And I think it's one of my biggest decisions of the week because, man, I would like Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback option on this slate. Jared Goff's going to be popular. He could be a perfect pivot. His options are all cheap, too. You got Zay Jones at 5K. By the way, why can't Zay Jones get priced above 5K? What does this man have to do to get a price tag at 5,500 or six? He's been better than Christian Kirk.
He's not bad. I constantly play him. He has that. He's like the David Montgomery of wide receivers. He just has all these people who think they're sharp all off season just come out with their combine stats and they say that this guy can't play, right? And then everyone calls him a fish play all season and nobody plays him enough. Even when he just smashes, he's out on the field. He's their deep threat. It's they go to him in the red zone. Lawrence is locked in on him in the red zone all season long. So,
but I think it's unfair to just tag a guy like that when he's been in the league for so long. He's clearly developed since year one. Year two, year three. This man's been in the league a while. He's been in different systems. He was Derek Carr when he was with the Raiders. Derek Carr
was a deep threat.
He said he was the hardest working guy. He said he was always available whenever Carr wanted to throw any time of the day. It could be the earliest time, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. He was always there. He never missed a session. He was always one of the receivers out there catching with them. And I think just hard work clearly has paid off. You can't just tag a guy like that from his combine numbers. People doing that just have no idea what they're talking about. So watch an actual football game instead of just looking at stuff that happened 6 years ago. So, yeah, these guys would be good plays. Evan Ingram's been a great fantasy tight end the last 3 or 4 weeks. What does he have? 3 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. He's gotten over 100 yards 2 of the last 3 weeks. 7, 15, 10, 8 targets the last 4 weeks. The guy's just been crushing. He's still 4,400. This would be a good stack, and I think you could run it back with the Houston guy, but you don't need to. You could just run it and hope Houston scores enough points to stay somewhat competitive, but it's guys that are just kind of unknown or, whatever, and you'd have a nice, fair price stack. But I wonder what are you guys doing with that situation? Because I think that's one of the situations you got to make a call on one way or the other.
Yeah, I think if we get the correct news, there's no issue going to these guys. I like the Zay Jones call. Evan Ingram, complete resurgence in terms of his play. Well, not a resurgence. He's finally come along. It's been 6 years, and we're finally seeing the Evan Ingram, who's all-world talent, and now it's beginning to translate to football. Just a matter of if they're going to roll.
How much of that is being stuck on the Giants? You know what I mean?
Well, it has to be stuck on the Giants. Daniel Jones. I don't know. Eli was kind of towards the end, right?
And he was terrible.
2 seasons, he was terrible. Yeah, he obviously looks like a player now, so I don't mind. And you guys made the point on Zay Jones. Zay Jones is fine. I think you can play him. He's getting the red zone targets. He's been good all year. I think we have to kind of shake the narrative around Zay Jones. And if they're all in and they're ready to go and coach is going to play them in this game, I wouldn't mind rostering some Jags.
All right. And then other than that for games, Just trying to scan here. So we do have so depending on what site you play on. So DraftKings has the Chargers, Rams, and Cam Akers looked pretty good in the last game, and Chargers run D is suspect, so that could be a play. But that's on the DraftKings slate only. FanDuel didn't include that. They have they're sitting there stuck with the Pittsburgh-Baltimore Ravens game because of they switched to the primetime game. So Yahoo and FanDuel have no Chargers, no Rams, but they do have the late game Steelers, Ravens, and which is funny. And Yahoo used to be like that at one point. They used to include that on Sundays, but then they switched it. But anyways, so that game's there. Like the game that's just a complete crapshoot is the Cardinals at the Falcons, right? Like both of these teams have nothing to play for, and good luck. I have no idea what's going to go on there, and like. Hopkins not going to play? He's been bitching in the media. I know that
he got tagged questionable. I saw that. So
yeah, and it's David Blaine, magician, is starting for them. David Blau, yeah,
Blau,
yeah, Blah. Yeah, always interesting when these guys come in. I mean, Minshew was awesome. But they're on the slate again. Philly against the Saints. I don't know. There's a bunch of games, but let's start it off at the Giants are. I want to bet on the Giants. The Giants. It's actually come down. I wanted the Giants look like a nice Wong teaser pick. For the playoffs. I mean, they should beat the Colts here. I would think. But anyways, let's start it off at running back. Then we'll get to quarterbacks. Lead it over to wide receivers. Follow with tight ends, and then Bobby's going to have his defense. For us, and then we'll take it with stacks. But running backs, it's different. Like I think like this week, it's less about like running backs. Like there are some good plays, sure, but like we probably should be starting at quarterback because like it's going to be like which game are you hitting on in this game? But like I don't feel like there's like a ton of must plays. McCaffrey is like the guy who's going to be the chalkiest, and I get it. It's against the Raiders without Derek Carr. And that's interesting. So like McDaniels totally pulled like it's him, not me card by like benching Derek Carr. Like he totally alphaed that right there. We'll see how that plays out for him. But anyways, McCaffrey and the San Francisco D is probably going to be a pretty popular combination. It's really just about his passing game work, but he did lose a lot of work in the last game to what's his name? Davis Price, TDP, who got a bunch of carries, 9 carries. So I mean, like that's eating in. It didn't affect him at all in the passing game. So really, that's where all the high value stuff is with McCaffrey is just getting those targets, especially in PPR. And it's a great matchup against the Raiders for sure. Should be they're also really bad in the passing game. They're 32nd in DVOA versus the pass, but we know Big Cock Brock is not going to be throwing all game. It's going to be leaning a lot on some of this running game in this game that they should be able to handle. But they are 20th in DVOA versus the rush. But he's going to be the chalk, and it'll be interesting to get your guys' view on that. But other than that, it gets a little dicey, right? Don't you guys think? Like there's no like smash play. Saquon, because that game is so meaningful for the Giants at 8K, I'm definitely interested in. And with the Colts, lying down here at this point in the season. So I like that. Miles Sanders is going to get chalky, but man, I mean, the Saints D is pretty good. And I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I'm hearing a lot of talk about Brian Robinson because of the matchup against Cleveland. But man, I mean, this guy had 22 carries. Granted, it was against San Francisco, but he got under 6 fantasy points on 22 carries, averaged 2.6 yards a carry, and only gets 1 target. You're not getting the passing game with him. It's going to be Gibson getting the passing game. James Conner. So he is out. So
yeah, he got ruled out.
Okay,
so they're going with Jonathan Williams as the backup.
Okay, so maybe he will get more passing game work, but I don't even I have no idea, to be honest with you. Algier, Tyler Algier looks like a beast. Like, to be honest with you, have you watched him at all?
I
Yeah,
seen
he's looking
him
really
hurdle
good.
some guy the other day on the sideline last Sunday. I think it was. Yeah, he looks good.
And like CPAT breaking down at this point in the season, old vet guy, like what's the point of even like really using him? I could see him being pretty good. James Conner's getting a ridiculous workload, and producing with it. Like he had a good game against a tough Tampa run D. He got 8 targets in that game, 15 rushes, so 23 touches. He got a TD, a rushing TD. So if they're going to continue to use him, especially if Nuke doesn't end up playing this week, I mean, it could just be lean on Connor all game. But also, like, at what point do they like just feed his who's backing him up? They don't really have it. I mean, Keontae Ingram.
That's the backup, I think.
That's that's the backup.
It's like they're really, and there's Corey Clement. Like, hey, I think he got like a touch. He got 1 target against the Pats one week. I mean, it just seems like Connor should just dominate in this. But none of these plays feel great to me. So, and Ramondre Stevenson was going to be a great play until now. They're talking about Harris slightly off, and he's been banged up, and he really disappointed against Cincy. The targets were there, the rushes were there. He just didn't produce. It's just easy to key in on him, to be honest with you. I mean, Mac is just not doing it. Dalvin Cook potentially in play in that big game. I guess Dalvin. I can get behind Dalvin against Green Bay. So long story short, I don't really feel good about any of these running backs, even McCaffrey, to be honest with you. So what are you guys thinking?
JSU, you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the Raiders situation, it doesn't feel like a little Raiders quit on coach type narrative here for you boys, because you benched Derek Carr for Jarrett Stidham. I don't think the whole team was on board with that. And I don't know. I could see McCaffrey having a nice game, but he's 9K. I'm probably not going to play guys like Jacobs. Saquon, I'm not going to go there, but I get what you're saying. The game, like, at least is meaningful, not paying for Eckler. I like what you said about Connor just from a workload perspective. Just seems like the workload's just going to be there. So, I mean, he seems like a safe play. I think Dalvin has some upside at 7K in a good matchup. Not touching Kamara. Montgomery at 6'9". I'm not going to play. Stevenson, no thank you. ETN, it's not a bad matchup, but Houston's been better. I'm probably not going to play ETN. If I play the Jacksonville side, it's probably going to be the passing game. So for me, I like these running backs more in this 5K range. I like Tyler Algier call at 5'3". I think he's good on DraftKings. Miles Sanders, I mean, New Orleans obviously got to play in that terrible weather game against Cleveland, which helped. But against Atlanta, they just got friggin' destroyed on the ground against Atlanta. And it was to the point where Atlanta couldn't throw because Ritter couldn't, like, literally do anything through the air. So they just kept running the football, just run. They were running the same play literally 10 times in the third quarter, just this little toss, and they would get 4, 5, 6 yards of carry. It was ridiculous. So I think Sanders could have a good game. I think that Lenny Fournette at 5'6", his volume in the passing game is just ridiculous. And remember, too, as the games become more and more, they still need to win, right? Tampa still needs to win. They got teams nipping on their heels. They're not for sure in yet, locked in to that division. So they need to win, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, let me just double check on that. So they're 7-8 right now. Yeah, they're not locked into anything. Carolina is right behind them at 6-9. So they need this game. I think Lenny makes a ton of sense. He's probably going to play a lot. Meaningful game. Saw 60% of the snaps last week. Got 10 targets through the air. Got 20 rushing attempts. I mean, shit.
Brady proved one thing in that game. He proved that he can still throw a screen.
Oh,
right?
he's going to keep throwing them too.
Yep.
That's my point with Lenny. He's 5'6" on DraftKings. You're getting that PPR. He's going to get 5+ targets probably, and he's going to get a bunch of rushing attempts. I think it's a close game, and it means a lot of Lenny at 5'6". So I like Lenny.
You're right there. You're right there. You're right there. Somebody that I'm gonna highlight. You're right there in the price range.
I'm almost there. Brian Robinson, I'll definitely play some of. Cam Akers on DraftKings only. I'll play some just because, man, he's just started to get all the work for some reason. And the Chargers just stink. I'm off the Chargers. I just can't. I'm not playing any of these guys in DFS. Eckler's been the only consistent dude, but man, it's
Keenan's been good.
He's been good. Yeah, he's been good. He's been fine. I wish he got more looks in the end zone. They do my problem is the offense though. Herbert's just not been good. Keenan's been fine. Herbert's just not been good though. So yeah, I'm off of it. I don't like Cam Akers. And then there's 3 cheap running backs that I think you can play because they're the stone. Well, 1 or 2 that I really like, but Khalil Herbert is the stone min at 4K. No one's going to play this dude, but he got 40% of the snaps, literally his first week back from being out for 5 weeks with an injury. Comes back, he gets that much. I think he kind of works in even a little more. He's 4K. Detroit couldn't stop the RPO last week with Sam Darnold. They were just getting gashed. They got gashed against the Bears with the RPO. Obviously, Justin Fields ran all over them. They remember that. So I think it opens up a lot more of these running backs here. And at 4K, I could see Herbert, getting some work in the passing game too. Got 3 targets last week. I could see him getting a little bit more on that as well. So I like Herbert for tournaments. Again, Millie Maker type play. No one's going to play him. And the same thing goes for this kid from Washington, Jonathan Williams. He's going to be the backup, it looks like. They're going to play 2 running backs. I like Brian Robinson. He's cheap. But they're not just going to play him the entire game. They're going to probably give him 20 attempts rushing. But he's not going to play the whole game. They're going to give this kid Williams some looks, and he's 4K. And Cleveland is literally the best matchup for a running back in football right now. So I think you can play this kid in Millie Makers as well.
Coming in hot. Still didn't hit the play that I was going to say.
The Kirky play. Please tell me it's not Zach Moss.
I say it every single week. It's DeAndre Swift.
Oh, God.
I was going to get into Swift. I think this is a great flop lag spot for Swift.
Oh, God.
I mean, the snaps were there. The routes, he had 24 routes compared to
the snaps were there. What snaps are you looking at?
Hold on, I think he got 50 I think he got 56% of the snaps.
Did he?
Double check that, yeah. Hold on. So
you're right. He did. Yeah. He got 56.
So he got his highest snaps, 56% last week, right? I felt and I liked them last week, but it didn't translate, right? The game didn't translate. They were also in comeback mode too for a lot of that game, so that was that could certainly be why he got much more snaps. But he ran 24 routes as opposed to 6 for Jamal Williams, 9 for Justin Jackson. Why is Justin Jackson a thing? I don't know. I still don't get it. He got 5 targets. The other guys got 1 and 2. He only got 4 rushing attempts. He split red zone work with Jamal Williams. He got 3 red zone opportunities. So did Jamal Williams. So, I mean, it's like all signs are pointing. Yes. He's cheap. I believe in the talent. It's the game. It's the spot where people aren't going to play, in this game. But is he probably going to fail? Probably again. But am I going to play him? Yes, I am. But Bobby, what are you thinking?
That's the best line of the show. He's probably going to fail. Yeah. Am I going to play him? Yes.
I'm playing Swift too. I didn't play him last week, but 56% of the snaps. Just the issue is Jamal Williams and Justin Jackson are going to work in still, and But at 5'3", he kind of fits like how construction's going. Everyone's kind of paying up for McCaffrey and then going to these 5K running backs. So Swift would definitely be in the play. I like JSU's calling Leonard Fournette. Just getting so much work in the passing game. It's getting later in the year. They're gonna lean on him. It is the one pass. I've watched a lot of Tom Brady this year. It is the one pass Brady can still throw, is that screen pass. So yeah, I don't mind getting to Leonard Fournette at 5'6". I think he's a pivot off like the Tyler Algiers, Brian Robinsons, who I also think are good plays. Like I have no issue playing those guys. They'll be in my pool. Miles Sanders at 5,900. I think Miles Sanders is, with Minshew, it's just a much better situation. So I don't mind going to Sanders in the spot for that price tag. And the two spend ups for me is like Christian McCaffrey, 9K. That's where construction's kind of leading everyone. I'm going right back to McCaffrey. I know he filled me and everyone else last week, but I have no issue playing him. And then Barkley would be another guy at 8K. Giants need to win. Last week we saw it, like we've seen throughout the season, like they lean on him. Their offense is like at times sputters, but I wouldn't mind Barkley at 8K.
Is it weird to you guys that DeAndre Swift, like the whole year, it felt like he was hurt? They were kind of holding him back from himself because he was hurt. And then they're getting just absolutely smacked at halftime in the beginning of the third quarter. And he still played that many more snaps than the other two guys. Is that weird to anyone? Like they just ran him that much when they were just completely out of it. Like they were dead in the third quarter. Like literally going into the third quarter, they were pretty much dead.
Yeah, I mean that's another way to put it, and that's probably the correct take, to be honest with you, because like I keep falling for it every week. But I just think this guy is so much better. Like, what do they know that I don't? Like, Swift is good. He's just fragile. But if he's fragile, why is he out there at the end of the game?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't get it. Like I don't really understand it.
I like the Herbert call at 4K. Like they're gonna work Herbert in. They love Herbert. He seems like
over my dead body.
He's good too. They want to work
I know Kirkwood loves himself.
They want to work
Montgomery.
him in, dude.
He's got posters of him on his wall of David Montgomery.
I gotta get a Monty jersey. I gotta get a Montgomery jersey.
How do you not have a Monty jersey?
It's probably on sale. All right. What I've come away from this is I've come away from, you turn the light on in my head for Lenny Fournette. I'm in with Lenny Fournette. Bobby gave me the go ahead with Miles Sanders. It is a much different situation. He's an actual like running back as opposed to having to like hope to get the running touches with Hurts out there, like completely different situation. I'm personally in on Dalvin and Saquon because these games are important. They're really solid running backs. I think they provide a really good floor in a week where it's tough. And then I'm gonna load up on Cam Akers. The dude 75% of the snaps looked so. I had him on that showdown, which is what he went nuts in that last game. And I've been kind of riding him because the writing was on the wall the week before. He had 76% of the snaps, and he followed it up with 75%. They got rid of Darrell Henderson. So there's like really everyone's been trying to make this Kieran Williams a thing, but it's not. And this is just like Akers, go out and prove to me that you can still play. It's been his time, and I think he's proven it. And anyone again, I 4K head chopper against the Chargers. I think I'm in, to be honest with you. So I got to take Cam Akers in this spot. The Chargers are 28th in DVOA versus the run. He's cheap. He doesn't look like he's going to be too owned. So I think he makes for a great tournament play. That's where I'm
right now. Derwin James, head chopper wants nothing to do with Derwin James. Do you see that hit he put on the
he got ejected.
Oh my God, that hit was.
It was vicious.
That was vicious, man. No, thank you. Right? It was Ashton Doolin. That's what it was.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Poor dude. Yeah.
Especially after he, got the touchdown for us all in showdown the week before at like 200, and then they got to reward him with that hit from James. All right, that's running back. Do you guys have a take on? Do you care about Ramondre at all?
I'm not paying up for a Patriots guy. If I'm playing a Patriots guy, it's a Stoneman 3K Patriots guy.
6,800 is a tough. Like he's kind of coming in the middle of like where everyone is. So
I don't want to pay up for running back either. I feel like the receiver position's just gonna be better this week.
Dude, I think if we just play Lenny and Cam Akers, we're golden. I think so.
Yeah.
Ramondre's seen 91% of the snaps last week. Just a heads up.
But wait, was Harris in? I can't remember.
Yeah, but Harris wasn't. He
7%.
He was like there was a problem, but now there's like coach speak that Harris is going to be okay for this game.
Yeah, he didn't even play last week. He hasn't played in weeks. He's going to get something, Bob. They're not going to give Ramondre.
Yeah, they're not going to give him.
Harris nothing.
If he's back and healthy, Harris is going to play. He's going to get touches.
Stevenson will still get more than Harris, I think, but
it's a good matchup too versus Miami. I don't know. I could Stevenson can make my pool.
I can't go Harris. All right.
I can't go him either.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like AJ Dillon's kind of interesting too at 5,800.
That's what I mean. I think there's just better running backs in the range. We didn't even bring up Dillon. I agree with you though. I think he's better than Harris. You got Miles Sanders at 5'9". You got Lenny right under him or same price at 5'6". Algier, Brian Robinson, even Swift, like you guys talked about. Like you got a bunch of guys in that range. I don't think you can play Damian Harris.
All right, let's move it on over to quarterback. The chalk of the week we're finally here is Jared Goff, believe it or not. In the game with the highest total in the Dome, he averages 24 points a game at home versus 15 points on the road. The Bears are 32nd in fantasy points allowed to the QB position, dead last. They are 29th in passing DVOA. He's got a easy pairing with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he's going to be extremely popular. The other guy, because it's a must-win game and is going to be popular, though maybe he shouldn't be, but he's getting the cheat code matchup against the Vikings, is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has not done anything. He's hit 20 fantasy points once, and it was right at 20 against Dallas. They run a lot. He hasn't been accurate. I mean, whatever he took, that ayahuasca or whatever the hell that, he's been tripping on. I don't think it worked too well for him in this aspect in football. But anyways, they're at home. They're rolling, at least from like winning perspective. But the problem is I would like him more if Watson is in and healthy. Like that's like you take away one of his weapons, it just gets a little bit thinner. I did speak earlier about my like for Dobbs. I think you could kind of push his role up if Watson is hurt or limited in any fashion. But like, I'm just like, why are they using Randall Cobb? I don't know, but like behind Rodgers is Justin Fields. So the other side of that, I mean, Fields in the Dome, lower ownership than Goff on a week where maybe there's enough value where we can make it happen. Like, I mean, he could be the play. Trevor Lawrence is right there. If you believe in they're going to go all out in this game, which I'm leaning, that's the way I think after just talking with you is that they probably will play this game hard. Maybe like you said, JSU, fourth quarter comes around and they're in control of this game. They could rest a little, but I think by that point, then you're going to have some good fantasy production on your side already on a week when there's a lot of tough stuff going on. And I'm not confident that will be the case anyway with the way that Houston's been playing people. Just like you said, JSU. So they get that, Gardner Minshew. And then below that is Patrick Mahomes. It's like the answer is always Mahomes, I think. So like, and I know, and I'm not going to play maybe Daniel Jones in this must win. I faded Daniel Jones last week, but like, I mean, this is a different matchup, but like, do you guys think the Colts like are just completely dead? Like what do they have to play for?
My issue with the Colts, if you play Daniel Jones, you got to see production on the Colts side, in my opinion, offensively. And I just don't see much. Like, that's my problem.
Just feed Saquon to your victory.
They're still starting Foles, right? I mean, God. How isn't Ellinger getting a chance? I know he's
I
not
think
good either,
I think he's playing. Is he this week? Wait, hold
on. No, I think they said that Foles is going to remain the starter.
Yeah. I mean, what ridiculous. I mean, he was so bad. I mean, he's just old. Again, now when I say I would roster Head Chopper at the running back position, I would not roster him at quarterback. It's a big difference. It's right. You know, there's a big difference
Definitely
there. So I just wanted to make that clear. What about Big Cock Brock?
I think Purdy's in play if you stack him with McCaffrey. Same with Jones. Like I think Jones with Saquon.
Nobody wants to tackle Kittle. I mean, you've been watching. So Kittle was on my Rainmaker team. That was what he was one of the guys that did it. But nobody just wants to tackle this dude at this point in the season.
Yeah, I don't hate Purdy.
My problem with Purdy is look at his passing attempts. The volume's just not there. 21, 26, 22 his last 3 games.
15 his last game, yeah.
You have to think the Raiders
22.
You know, the Raiders put up a fight. If you think Stidham can move the ball against San Francisco, then yeah, I'd say Purdy's in play, but I don't know about you guys. I don't really feel confident that Jared Stidham's going to be able to move football.
I do not feel confident that he's able to do that. He just
I just don't.
And they don't have
to just play George Kittle if you want a piece of Purdy, or just
play
you know McCaffrey
what?
Or
you
whatever,
know what? I look at the last two starts for this other starter who's 5,400, and he's had in his last 2 starts, he had 44 and 57 pass attempts. And then you put that next to like Brock Purdy, who's got 22 or 15 completions, right? Like I'm talking Mike White here against Seattle.
I think Mike White's in play.
I like him.
Yeah, I'm fine with Mike White.
I like a little Mike White, Garrett Wilson stack.
Get out, Zach Wilson. See you later. Like I've said it all along, you can't build a franchise around these country club kids. You can't do it. Like the writing's on the wall. He stinks. He's got no heart.
Tyler Conklin's down there at 2.9.
I mean, he showed it when he blamed his teammates. Like, and it was him. You know what I mean? Like that just you lose a locker room quicker. Nothing loses a locker room quicker than that. And I speak that as someone who sits on my couch and watches football every weekend. So I'm qualified to make that statement. But anyways, who else is there? I mean, what about Kirk? I mean, is Kirk Cousins really not going to – it's crazy that he's showing kind of low ownership on the other side of this game.
Well, people like to play Kirk Cousins at home too, right? So, like, that's probably some of it.
But, like, if you're playing Jefferson, you know –
Yeah, he'd be fine. Like, I'd be fine with him. I just think Trevor Lawrence is better right next to him if you just believe that he is going to play. But, like, yeah, I like him better than Aaron Rodgers, who's going to get ownership in the same game. So I'm with you there. Justin Fields at 7.9. Like, how is Justin Fields, like, is my favorite play at 7.9. I think he's going to have a big game. You know, and he's going to get ownership, but not many people are going to want to pay almost $8K for a quarterback, I think, on this slate. I think a lot of people will take the savings with some of these $6K and under guys. And so Justin Fields, to me, is 7.9. I'm going to play some of him. I think that Mike White is solid. The guy I like down at 5K is Teddy Bridgewater. I don't see much of a drop-off from Tua to him, personally. And we've seen him have success already this season in this offense. Now, obviously, got injured, start one of the games. But, when he's in there, I feel like he can give you a solid performance. He still has those same weapons, the good offensive scheme that Tua had. And I think Teddy Bridgewater can perform well enough against New England. And New England, one thing about New England is they've struggled in the secondary a little bit. And you can attack these corners, and they got the skill dudes to do it. So Teddy Bridgewater's 5K. You're going to get these Miami receivers at under 10%, probably 5% or less. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are going to be so low owned. I don't know if you need to double stack. I don't think you need to double stack them. but I think you could easily make a Teddy single stack with him. And then if you wanted to run it back with a Patriot, Tyquan Thornton he was in for almost like every play last game. Didn't get much work, but was on the field a ton. And Hunter Henry, if he's in, Jonnu Smith is out, and Miami struggled against the tight end. They've given up a bunch of touchdowns to the tight end. Hunter Henry at 3K, I think, is a decent tight end play. So there are ways to, kind of pair this game up and get pieces.
Dude, they're missing like both their corners, Jack Jones and Marcus Jones.
Yeah,
they're like so thin, and nobody's talking about it in their defense. And like you're facing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like I don't care who's throwing to them. They're like the yards after the catch monsters. Like you could put Tom Brady in there, and these guys are going for 80-yard touchdowns. Like breaking one.
Yeah, I think the Patriots from a defensive side, they have like not just those guys that are out, but some of their other guys I'm pretty sure are dealing with injuries. They might play this game, but like Jalen Mills, I know has been dealing with an injury. He didn't play last game. He's questionable for this game. He got a limited practice on Friday, didn't practice on Wednesday or Thursday. So even if he plays, he's got to be coming in kind of nicked up. And then Jonathan Jones, their other cornerback, he had an injury too. He practiced all week limited. He's questionable. So you just got guys that, not just those two guys on the other two guys you talked about that are out, Marcus Jones and Jack Jones, but the two other main cornerbacks are also coming in, even if they play with injuries. I just think it's a spot you can attack when you got two skill guys like Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Teddy Bridgewater can do enough to get those guys the football, I think.
Yeah, man. What are you thinking, Bobby?
Yeah, so I'm going right to the Detroit Chicago game. Fields and Goff. Goff's going to be the cash game guy. I like the field, just getting up, you're flipping the construction, paying $7,900 for Fields. So he seems like a play that I'd want to get to. The Mike White call, like throwing the ball as much as he has, I really like Garrett Wilson. He's going up against Seattle. It's a good matchup. So for me, I think Mike White's interesting. I like Bridgewater as well. Like if you're taking those cornerbacks out, and then it's Jalen Waddle and Tyreek. Jalen Waddle just kills the Patriots, but Jalen Waddle, Tyreek, I don't think there's, like JSU said, I don't think there's much of a drop off. Pat would be like I want to play Mahomes at 8,500. I do worry about if they're able to fight back this Denver team. Like, I don't know. I want to get to Mahomes, but at that price tag, I think I'd probably play Fields and save the 600. He is a good play though. For regardless, it's Patrick Mahomes. And then outside of that, really, I don't know. I don't want to say Brady, but I like Leonard Fournette. I don't.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like why?
That's
we can get all the production with Lenny.
Yeah, we just play Lenny.
So I got one more too, just because Washington's defense pretty solid against the run. They got good interior play. They're going up against Cleveland. And on the Washington side, you obviously have a really good plus matchup for the running backs. But I think on the other side, the Cleveland side, as much as I don't like Deshaun Watson.
Don't do it.
I think for tournaments, they're going to have to throw, because I think to beat Washington, you're going to have to throw to beat them. And I think you can beat them with those corners they got. They got good skill players in Cooper and DPJ. I think you could stack Deshaun Watson this week in Millie Maker formats. I don't love Deshaun Watson. I think it's more just the game is going to force them into this way. I think Washington gets up. I like Washington to win this game, but I think there's points in this game. I think it goes over the total, and I think the production is going to come more through the air for Cleveland. I think they're going to have some success through the air with some of these wide receivers and their matchups. And then I think Washington can score on the other side to keep this game kind of moving. So that'll be another, again, It's not like a cash game, safe play. This is a tournament play. This is going to be 2% owned. No one's stacking this game up. And like the Patriots game, no one's going to stack that game up either. I think Fields is the best play. Fields is the best play by far. Jared Goff is the best price per dollar quarterback. That's why he'll be the highest owned in cash games. In every format, he'll be the highest owned. And so those are just two guys I think in the 5K range you could pivot to in tournaments that have some upside, I think.
I'm with it. But one thing that's become clear and obvious to me is that we're all sick of Justin Herbert, right? Like he's looked terrible.
Yeah, everyone's sick of him.
Yeah, and they're running. They were just they're just running the ball when they got down to the red zone. But it's like if this is a Rams team that could lay over at any point in time. They're at home. He's got all these elite weapons. And it feels like nobody's playing him now. Like, should this be the spot where we jump on? Like, maybe he gets right. I don't know. What I do know is I don't want to play him. Like, I've played him so much lately.
I can't play him. I can't pay 7-1 for him. I can't do it. If I get up there, how do I not just play Fields, right? Yeah. Like in my head, I just can't do it.
All right, wide receiver. Obviously, let's start at the very top. Justin Jefferson is just a cheat code. He's just ridiculous. North of 30 fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games. He is going for records still, which is nice. This is a meaningful game. Their defense can't stop anyone, so they're just involved in shootouts week in and week out. Will Green Bay slow the game down? Yes. That's one thing I'm confident in is that they will slow the game down. So maybe there's a little bit less upside than typical. And, it's outdoor, it's in Green Bay. But there's no holes to poke. The only hole is that his salary is $9,500. Other than that, the obvious chalk one is Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is just targets. He's, been quiet after those 2 monster games he had in week 12 and week 13. But he's had the targets, right? He had 13 targets. It was a tough matchup against Carolina. He had 10 targets in a tough matchup against the Jets. He flopped against Minnesota in a game that, he still had 9 targets, decent production. But this seems like a great spot against the Bears pass D that just is Swiss cheese at this moment. We do have some cheaper options, like we mentioned Zay Jones at 5K against Houston. I think he's a great play, especially coming back after a bad game last week against the Jets in a really tough matchup. If they are going all out against Houston, I think it's a good spot. Keenan Allen is the one guy I'm confident in. He a little biased. I played him in captain and showdown on that slate, and that's all I needed to do to cash. But he got peppered with targets. Like, even though he didn't get the red zone and they did run it, it's just 14 targets the last game. He's talented. He also, I don't think he even stepped out of bounds on that one. Did you see that play, that ridiculous tightrope where he should have had a touchdown? But regardless, I think he's a good play. Lazard may get some steam with Watson going out, but I think the play to do that is take a low-owned Dobbs. But maybe I'm wrong. Brandon Ayuk has the best matchup out of everybody, according to Pro Football Focus. It's going to be extremely low-owned. Drake the Snake London, looks like rejuvenated with 12, 11, and 9 targets now that it's Ritter at the helm. So I like him for cheap. So I think there's a lot of ways to go here in this slate, actually. So we have like a kind of a stacked mid-range. I think I feel better about the mid-range, I guess, this week is what I'm saying. And we, with the high end, the only high-end guy, like super high-end, is Justin Jefferson. What stands out to you, JSU?
Yeah, I mean, Jefferson has to be the best play on the board. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown could have the most ownership, though, just being that Jared Goff's going to be the highest quarterback in the highest total game. Amon-Ra, obviously Jared Goff's success at home, everyone's going to flock to guys like Amon-Ra. So I think he's the highest price guy that gets the most ownership, like at the top. But Jefferson to me is just the overall best play if you can get to him. I got no issues with him on Raw. He can rack up a ton of receptions. I'll keep saying it, though. Those Miami pass receivers are the pivots in tournaments at the top for me. After that, you get down into like that 5K range where you got guys like Garrett Wilson, who looks like a really good play with Mike White back. Alan Lazard, if Christian Watson's out, I think becomes a pretty good play. Amari Cooper at 5'8", nobody's going to play Cooper. And I think for tournaments, we've seen him have, it's pretty much boom bust, it feels like, with someone like him. So, 10 targets last game, and that was in terrible conditions, just awful conditions. Slipped, should have had a touchdown too. Slipped in the back of the end zone, was wide open, just kind of slipped and fell, and would have caught it probably because there was no one around him if he didn't slip and fall. But he to me is going to get heavy targets again here, and I think he's good. Same thing with his guy Donovan Peoples-Jones on the other side. He's cheap. Cheaper guys than that, I think you can make a case for like a Curtis Samuel or Jahan Dotson if you wanted to. They both had some pretty good games with Carson Wentz early. Samuel had more of like the consistent lower ADOT type pass receptions. Dotson getting in the end zone, so you can make the case for either one of them at their prices. DJ Chark, to me though, 4,300. He's been really, really good, and everyone's going to play Amon-Ra. DJ Chark will probably come in at like 10 to 12%, whereas Amon-Ra is going to come in at like 20-something%. So for tournaments, I think he makes some sense pairing up with Goff. Maybe he's lower than 10%.
It feels like he's definitely going to catch like a 50-yard touchdown in this game.
I mean, he's been friggin' good. Like, he's been really, really good. So, and he's been good without even getting in the end zone some of these weeks. So, I agree. It feels like he could catch the end zone. And then news you got to monitor: DeAndre Hopkins questionable. If he's out, I mean, Greg Dortch. Even if Hopkins is in, Greg Dortch kind of slid in and was a guy that was just racking up short receptions, and he could do it again. He's stoned 3K. You're going to need some savings on this slate, especially if you want to play the Justin Jeffersons, the Christian McCaffreys, all those type of plays. So at 3K, I think he's in play. Tyquan Thornton, I brought up for the Patriots. I think at 3K, he played like almost all the snaps last week. I think they keep kind of giving him some run, being younger guy that is super talented too. So Patriots aren't out though. That's a good target too on this slate. Like, there are some games with some of these teams where like it's very meaningful to them, like Miami and New England. That's a big game, right? Miami's in that last wild card seed right now, but New England is right behind them. They're like a game back, I think. So this game has to be, one of those like very meaningful games to both these teams. It's not just like one side has something to play for and the other side doesn't. Like, both these teams both have something to play for, divisional game. So I think it's a good game that no one's going to want to attack, but in tournaments, it kind of makes some sense to maybe attack on a slate where, besides the Bears game, Bears-Detroit game, and the Minnesota-Green Bay game, all the other games kind of look the same. They're all low totals. They're all like in the low 40s or 30s, and you're going to have to, take some chances on some of those games. So everyone's going to play the Bear. If you think you're being sneaky playing the Bears in Detroit, you're not. That's going to have ownership. But after that, you're going to get some really low-owned game stacks if you go with some of these lower total games.
What pass catchers on the Bears?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Claypool's back.
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, that's the guy, right? Like, it just Kmet.
Khalil Herbert. I could even play Khalil Herbert. Like, I'm not going to play these wide receivers, though. There's no chance.
I like the Herbert call. Would definitely like the Herbert call.
I feel like Bobby's going to mention the guy that you missed. Are you going to, Bobby? You got Shaheed on your radar at all?
Oh yeah, I got him.
I really
too.
like Shaheed. Yeah, I think Shaheed's a good play. JSU talked like Dortch, all these like. Well, we're kind of stuck for value. Seeing a lot of like tight end, double tight ends, and optimals. Yeah, I don't mind Shaheed. He's been fantastic when he's been in. I could definitely roster him. I know the Eagles secondary is better than their front seven, but I still think he's a guy that is just game-breaking speed and GPP, so I don't mind getting him. Like the Chark call, like I didn't realize Chark was 4-3. I think he's an interesting pivot off of Amon-Ra or stacking with Amon. I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown at 7,800. I think he's a phenomenal play. I prefer him just because of the savings, like most will. People are he's gonna be the more optimal play than say Justin Jefferson at 9,500. But maybe if you can find your way up to the 9,500, like JSU said, I think Jefferson's fine. Garrett Wilson versus Seattle, Mike White, Kirk talks about it. He throws the ball. He's been throwing it at a very high clip. All the volume's going to be condensed to Garrett Wilson. I like going to him. Drake London, since Ritter's been in there, he's seeing a ton of targets. He was seeing targets before, but they seem to have some sort of rapport that has been able to translate. Versus Arizona, I think he's a good play. Keenan Allen, no one wants to play Herbert. Like maybe Keenan Allen goes a little bit under-owned than what he should. I don't mind paying the $7K for Keenan Allen. I think there's a nice Zay Jones flop lag you can play. Trying to think outside of that.
Keenan Allen outscores Amon-Ra St. Brown this week.
I'd take Amon-Ra. Do you want to make a bet?
No, I'm just saying other people book it.
Oh wow! Seriously, guys, come on, get in there, get a bet going.
I don't want to bet Bobby. I don't want to have.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, we'll keep it friendly.
I mean, I back every one of my calls. I would lay the house down on that, but I don't want to bet Bobby and get a.
I get it. No,
Bobby will come knocking on the door.
I've never done that.
Kicking the door down.
Yeah.
He's demanding his money right away.
I'm not playing Tutu. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm not playing Tutu. Was Tutu chalk recently? I feel like it was chalk.
Yeah, every showdown.
Chalk. Yeah. I like the Amari Cooper call by JSU. Like Washington's a pass funnel, even DPJ. Like maybe you could play some Deshaun. And then these Miami receivers, like these like we've seen it last week, right? That Philly game, like everyone wanted to stack that Philly game, but there are better options at receiver than like CD Lamb or Devontae Smith. But those two guys are game breakers. Like you see that with the Dolphins, we know Waddle, we know Tyreek, they're coming in low owned. And then on the other side, Tyquan Thornton at 3K, seeing that amount of snaps, he's another absolute burner. Like this game could be competitive. I don't want to say like even Mac Jones. I don't hate it. If I could do a redo at the quarterback position, I think I'd see myself playing some Mac Jones. Myers is 5K, so it's like I could play some Jacoby.
I play Myers.
Like game. This slate stinks for games. Like
that was the cheapest touchdown that he got. The one that it bounced off of who is it? And just fell in his lap.
It was a feel-good score. It was the gods going back, getting.
Oh, you had him?
I played him. Yeah, I played the feel-good narrative. He had to get back, Yeah, after giving the game away in Vegas, just absolutely handing the ball to Chandler Jones for no reason.
It was ridiculous.
He had to get some redemption. There's a redemption curve in life.
I still say it's Ramondre's fault. He would have never handed the ball to Chandler Jones if Ramondre didn't.
He just got confused because he was like, "Why is he flipping it to me?" So he thought.
But why aren't we blaming Ramondre?
I think I blame Ramondre too.
The ball went from Ramondre to Myers to Jones.
I don't understand.
You know who I blame? I blame everything on Joe Judge and Mike Patricia, the two worst coaches on the planet who are calling plays for this.
They have no business calling plays, Patricia and Judge. No business.
God. Imagine Matt Patricia calling your offense. I mean, that's
coming this Sunday. All right, let's move it on over to tight end. Tight end is interesting because we have Kelsey. What's funny is chalk is going to be Ingram Like people are finally like, okay, I have to play him now. 4 weeks in a row of just ridiculous targets. George Kittle has become a monster without Debo. But huge games and back-to-back games, 25 fantasy points against Seattle, 33 last week against Washington. Nobody wants to tackle this guy. He's a beast. It's in him. Dallas Goedert, maybe he gets things going. Cole Kmet, we kind of mentioned. The interesting cheap punt play is Jelani Woods because Granson is out against the Giants, and the Giants have been notoriously bad at stopping the tight end and over the middle of the field. Woods looks like a beast to me. Like he's a guy you watch and you're like, why isn't this guy getting more targets? I mean, he's like Chig, right? Like he just looks. They both look like absolute monsters out there on the field. I don't really like anyone else. I mean, I could be convinced on anybody, but and then Hawkinson. Like this guy just. I mean, that's why the guy in front of me at Hawkinson, I had to try to chase down. That was tilting. 38 or 39 fantasy points last week, 16 targets. Giants could not stop him whatsoever. I guess that's kind of the thesis for the play, going right back with Jelani Woods for cheap. But Hawkinson's in this big game. 5,400 still seems reasonable. I don't know those kind of seem. And then Higbee, I want to hear some thoughts on Higbee because he's been like Baker's just been peppering him. It's been the safety valve for him since he took over. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, so I like Kmet. I think he's a really good play. He's the guy I want to stack with Fields. 4,500. I think he makes sense. He's really the only pass catcher that I feel okay stacking Fields with outside of JSU's guy, Khalil Herbert. Hunter Henry, if Smith's out, I think he becomes a fantastic play at 3K going back to that Miami-New England game. Wouldn't mind rostering him. It's just a good price tag for him. Miami, like they've been abysmal all season versus tight ends. Travis Kelce, always play Kelce. I feel like playing Kelce is probably the better option than just playing Mahomes in the slate. You just play Kelce, just because Mahomes' price tag, 8,100 for Kelce. Yeah, you're paying up, but he's Travis Kelce. Dallas Goedert might be my favorite tight end play at 4,700. Like Minshew has shown, like reason to throw to Minshew's thrown to him in the past. He didn't really. It was his first game back last week. People were on him. If he's coming in a little bit lower round than he was last week, I'll probably be over the field on Goddard. Outside of that, tight ends. That's pretty much my tight end player pool, I would say. Maybe who was the Giants guy, Bellinger there or someone? I don't even know. 3K Bellinger. 3-2 for. I'd much rather play Henry. I feel like. Kittle is a good play at 5.9. Wow, it's just a matter of, do we think they're going to throw a ton? But it is condensed, so I don't know. The price increase, Kittle could make my pool. That's pretty much it for tight end for me.
Yeah, I don't mind the Dallas Goedert call. The guys for me, like Cole Kmet, like because we need someone to stack with Justin Fields. I think you can play him. Tyler Higbee, he's just killed me. Like the last couple of weeks, he's just killed me.
There's whatever you do with that guy, it's wrong. It's like
there's no way. Yeah, exactly. There's no way I play Higbee. I'm not chasing Higbee.
Dude, I needed him so bad as a pivot. He dropped like an easy 60-yard touchdown.
The problem is Baker's just throwing to him the whole friggin' game. It's driving me nuts.
Little 9-yard outs for first downs over and over all game.
Yeah, I mean, geez, it's tough. He is questionable. I assume he plays. I think he plays. So, yeah, he's probably a good play again. But I get what Bob's saying. Like, if you haven't been on him, you probably should just stay off of him.
I thought that with Justin Fields earlier in the year too, though. So we could be might not be the best take. I haven't been playing this guy 5 weeks in a row.
He's probably
every week.
Yeah, he's probably a good play again. Jelani Woods and Hunter Henry, though, are definitely the two cheap tight ends I have. And then David Njoku's playing all the snaps. I think if you're stacking that game, he could be in your player pool as well. Yeah, I mean, those are the main guys. Juwan Johnson's a good pass-catching tight end. He's still cheap if you want to roll with him. But, New Orleans is kind of a tough offense to peg. I think I would like them more too if like Olave got ruled out. So I'll wait on that news because he's still questionable, I'm pretty sure. Other than that, though, yeah, I think that's the tight end position for me at least.
Did we mention Noah Fant at all?
No.
So Disley's going to be out though. So and this is like the first time he's been off the injury report. He's like he's been removed. So I don't know, maybe. I know it's tough against the Jets, but I don't know. Give him a bump without Disley.
I don't hate it.
Or you could go Colby Parkinson for 2,500 if you really want to get frisky.
I don't know if I want to get that frisky.
Yeah. You know, if you wanted to start the New Year's a little frisky.
I don't want to cancel Christmas for next year, maybe.
Yeah.
Christmas is canceled.
That's what I said. It is canceled. It's just DFS, just like the ups and downs, your mood just swings with it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, the last defensive segment of 2022. You better be ready, and you better come with some fire for this one.
Fire. Expecting a lot here. So the Texans at 2,500, if all these guys sit, I don't mind playing the Texans versus the Jags. But if they don't play, then it's pretty much trying to figure out who to play outside of the Texans. If the guys do start and they play everyone, I'm not playing the Texans. Maybe, I don't know, the Rams there at 2,500.
I was just going to say that was going to be my spicy one. The Rams.
I think the Rams. Little
Cam Akers Rams.
Yeah, I think the Rams would be like the defense I would play if not the Texans. And
good
if
job.
Jacksonville played all their guys, I think the Rams would be my favorite.
I like those calls. I like the Texan call regardless, Bob. You don't know too, like the players, they could just be looking to next week. You know, this happens all the time in football. It's like the look ahead. They know that next week they need to win. So even if they play their starters, is almost a look ahead. The Texans have been playing better recently too. So I don't hate that call. They're at home. I like the Rams call though. That's a good low pivot. So since you guys took those two, and I like both of them, but I'll go the opposite of you guys. Since even though those two defenses will be low owned, everyone's going to pay down for the 49ers. I do like the 49ers. I think like the 49ers, the Patriots, the Chiefs, Falcons. Those will be like your high-owned defenses. 49ers will be the highest owned, though. I think the Giants against Nick Foles. Nick Foles is just a statue. When his first read or second read are not there, he just goes into like meltdown mode. Like he can't even move to get rid of the ball. Like he just tucks it and knows he's about to get hit. And he got hit a lot last week. I think the Giants are going to get him this week, too. He's probably going to get sacked 4 or 5 times this week. So, Giants, they're 3,900. You're going to have to pay for them. But I don't think many people do. I think they come in pretty
everyone's
low.
Playing just the 49ers, right? Like everybody.
That's what I think.
For Stidham, I don't see how you do them. Yeah.
It's 2,900.
I was just trying to give.
They're like an all-time D. I know because they're going to be massive chalk.
Yeah,
that's why.
You're still playing like they're hitting your pool. They're definitely in your pool. You're not fading them.
Right.
We were just giving defenses that were off the board.
I could play Rams over them. But the thing is, 49ers like an all-time defense this year. They're ridiculous.
I know that is like the funny part is the 49ers defense is just so friggin' good.
Does the
they should be 3,900 even if Carr was starting. I don't
even understand how their defense is 2,900. Like how are they 2,900? It's like the best. It's like one of the best defenses in football. I don't get it.
They should be 3,900 against even with Carr, and now Carr is not there.
They should be able to go manually fix that.
Like, maybe it's an upgrade because Carr threw so many picks. Carr threw so many picks. Maybe they.
It's not an upgrade.
I don't.
Very, very bad.
I don't think it's an upgrade, bro.
Stidham's like an Instagram influencer. He's not even like an NFL player.
Yeah, he's gonna have a tough time. Just say that.
It's gonna be rough for Stidham out there.
Yeah.
All right. Stacks, single entry or three entry, large field. Who are we going with? Whoever wants to go first, jump in.
I think the Fields with Komet or Fields naked is probably the safe way to go for me. A lot of people will play the golf side of that, but the unowned stack that no one's gonna play, and it might sound a little gross, but the Teddy Bridgewater to Jalen Waddle, run it back with one of Hunter Henry, Hunter Henry if he's in. If he's out, then Tyquan Thornton and
no Jacoby.
Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Well, I was just running it back with them because they're literally $3K. Like they're stone min, they're so cheap. So,
but you're saving. He's only $5K at quarterback, so you're saving nice there too.
But I'm paying up for Waddle, and then I'm probably going to want Jefferson.
Tyreek,
so or Tyreek. I don't know if you want to double stack Teddy B. Like, I think you want to pick one of them and hope one of them just explodes. You know what I mean? As opposed to playing both of them.
Do you think Bridgewater has the same? Like, obviously, Tua's not hitting these guys. Well, Tua's been fine, but like, is Bridgewater going to have Is he going to be able to get it deep consistently to Tyreek?
I mean, Tua struggled to get it deep consistently to Tyreek.
Look at Dylan, dude.
Look at baby Kirk.
So my guy here, he's got some green and white stripes on. What is that telling us, Dylan?
AJ Dillon?
No, it's telling us the Jets. Mike White, Garrett Wilson, run it back with DK Metcalf. Maybe.
Maybe. Dylan didn't really react to it, so I don't know if he likes it that much.
He doesn't react to much, except when he craps his pants. And then he giggles. And then he cries.
Boy.
That's what he does. So that's where I'm going. But I do like that Teddy Bridgewater call too. And if I'm playing like the chalk guy, I think Justin Fields is probably the way to go. Maybe I just do Kirk Cousins because you're going to be lower owned with Jefferson. I don't care that it's outside. But that's what I'm thinking this week. But all right, that's a wrap, right? We're in the books for 2022.
You didn't get my stack.
Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I got away. I had to grab Dylan, so I thought you gave it while I was.
It's good. I'm definitely playing Fields. I'm stacking up the games. I feel like it's the game everyone's going to stack, but Detroit, Chicago, so it's nothing. It's too crazy. Maybe I'll have some Miami, New England stacks, but I'm definitely going to have a lot of exposure to Detroit and Chicago. I'll go on the field side.
Big Millie on DraftKings tonight. You guys got an entry in the Big Millie?
What's it for? NBA?
No, for NFL this week.
NFL?
The 2K Millie. The 2.
Oh, the 2K. Yeah, I haven't entered currently, but I'll probably enter.
Dylan needs it, so we got to get Dylan a house. So I'm gonna enter this bad boy.
There you go.
All right, it's been a wrap. Thank you everybody for sticking with us for all the weeks. Like I said, it's been always tough scheduling everybody's schedules together. So thank to both of you guys for making this podcast happen. We'll still be back again next week, but it'll be in 2023 for week 18. I'm not sure if we're going to do some playoff stuff or not, but that'll be TBD to be determined. But once again, this has been RotoGrinders in collaboration with Run Pure Sports, with collaboration with my boy Dylan. And we are going to see you next week for week 18. Thank you.